You think your soundbar sounds good? Think again. Today, I'm exposing the 10 biggest secrets behind Dolby Atmos soundbars that brands never talk about. These are the hidden upgrades, tuning tricks, and tech moves that separate average sound from cinematic power. And by the end, you'll know exactly why 2026 is the year everything about home audio changes. Hit subscribe, like, and drop a comment for what you want to see next on Interface Craft. True Atmos is not about loudness. It's about direction. Most people believe Dolby Atmos is just louder, more powerful sound. More booming bass, more rumble, more shake. And while that can be exciting for a moment, that is not what real Atmos is doing. In reality, Atmos is about movement. It's about sound placement, how precisely the audio shifts in space around you, above you, beside you, and sometimes behind you without requiring rear speakers at all. When I tested the latest 2026 Atmos soundbars, I noticed something immediately. The most impressive ones weren't the ones that shook the walls. They were the ones where I could literally locate the sound. When footsteps traveled across the screen, I could follow them. When a helicopter flew overhead, I didn't just hear it, I felt the direction. The room didn't just fill with noise. The room changed shape. That's because these new models use an upgraded spatial audio processor, something brands rarely explain. It analyzes your room's reflections in real time and adjusts the upward firing and side firing channels, so the sound doesn't simply expand, it lifts. This is the part most people miss. You can have a powerful subwoofer, a beautiful soundbar body, and premium branding, and still never experience Atmos the way it's meant to feel because the sound is stuck in front of you. True Atmos takes the sound off the bar and into the room. And once you hear that for the first time, there's no going back. But before we move forward, there's another secret that completely flips how you choose your next soundbar. Because the next thing I'm about to reveal is exactly why two soundbars with the same Dolby Atmos badge can perform completely differently. One sounding immersive, the other sounding flat and lifeless. And almost nobody knows why. The shape of the room matters more than the soundbar. People assume that buying a Dolby Atmos soundbar is the whole story. You spend the money, you plug it in, you turn it on, and magically, cinematic audio should fill the space, right? But here's the secret nobody wants to admit, especially not the companies selling these bars. Your room is part of the sound system. In fact, your room might be the reason your soundbar has never sounded as good as the reviewers described. See, Atmos relies on reflection. Those upward-firing speakers don't send sound directly at your ears. They send sound toward your ceiling first. The ceiling bounces it back down to create that illusion of height. But this only works if your ceiling is flat, hard, not sound-absorbing, not too high. If your ceiling is vaulted, angled, or more than about 11 feet tall, upward-firing drivers can't create that overhead layer. The audio goes up and dies. The Atmos height effect disappears. It becomes just louder front audio. And this is where the real secret enters. Soundbars don't fail in bad rooms. Rooms fail soundbars. When I tested the 2026 lineup in real homes, not studios, not showrooms, the difference was night and day. Same soundbar, same settings, different room. One room produced a full dome of audio. The other sounded like a regular speaker bar, flat and forward. That's when I realized something that completely changed how I talk about Atmos. If the room isn't working with the soundbar, no amount of money fixes the problem unless the speaker design changes. Which leads to the best-kept secret in home theater audio right now. Some soundbars don't rely on reflections at all. Instead, they use something called direct beam steering, firing sound precisely toward your ears using phased array acoustics. This means they can create that overhead illusion even in rooms that shouldn't be able to support Atmos at all. When you hear beam-steered Atmos in a tough room, it feels impossible. Like sound is bending around the air itself. Like the roof is opening. Like movies breathe. And here's where things get interesting. The next soundbar on this list uses that exact technology. Most people don't even know it exists. It's the reason why some users say, "How does this compact bar sound bigger than my entire old surround setup?" But before we go there, take a breath for a second, because the next secret is the most misunderstood feature in modern soundbars, And it is the #1 reason people think their Dolby Atmos sounds weak. The shock? It has nothing to do with the speakers. It's the way the soundbar is tuned from the factory. And once you understand that, you unlock performance you didn't know your system already had. Factory presets are limiting your sound. Unlock hidden performance. This is the one that surprises almost everyone because it has nothing to do with hardware, nothing to do with drivers, nothing to do with wattage, channels, subwoofers, or even wireless tech. It's the default tuning your soundbar ships with. Manufacturers design soundbars to sound safe out of the box, meaning balanced, non-aggressive, and neutral. And this sounds fine in a store where everything is loud and echoing. But in your living room, that safe tuning ends up making Atmos sound flat, thin, and distant. So what do most people do? They assume the soundbar isn't powerful enough. They assume the bass isn't strong enough. They assume Atmos is hype. When the real issue is this: your soundbar is holding back more than half of its actual dynamic capability. Because factory presets are designed to avoid complaints. Complaints about too much bass. Complaints about dialogue being too sharp. Complaints about highs sounding harsh. So companies play it safe, and safe kills immersion. I'll give you an example. When I first tested one of the top-rated Atmos bars of 2026, the kind reviewers call cinema level, the first listen was shockingly average. The surround was present, but the height layer felt like a whisper instead of sky. Then I opened the real tuning controls. Not the big sound mode buttons, but the manual Atmos height level, mid-range clarity, and low-frequency gain sliders buried in settings. The moment I raised height level, +3, center channel, +1, sub-output, +4, everything changed. The ceiling came alive. Voices became clear, not sharp. Explosions gained depth you could feel in your ribs. The room expanded. The soundbar finally sounded like the device I paid for. And here's the twist. Most people never touch these settings because they don't know they exist. There are entire control menus that appear only when the soundbar detects an Atmos source. Meaning if you're testing with YouTube stereo, Netflix on a weak device, or cable TV, you are literally hearing 40% of its potential. That's why so many people say, I bought Atmos, but I don't hear the height effect. Of course they don't. They're not actually outputting Atmos. But here's where the real secret kicks in. Certain 2026 models include auto room mapping using built-in microphones, meaning they analyze your room shape, ceilings, wall reflections, and seating position, and tune themselves automatically. This is not marketing fluff anymore. The new generation does it incredibly well. When a soundbar maps your room with active acoustic correction, the surround field becomes precision sculpted, not just loud. The audio stops sounding like a system in your room. It starts sounding like the room is the system. And once you hear that difference, you can't go back. Because now it's personal. Your room, your acoustics, your listening position, perfectly tuned. But if you think that is wild, wait. Because the next secret isn't about the room or tuning. It's about what happens behind the scenes inside the processor, the actual brain of the soundbar, and how different brands handle the Atmos signal in completely different ways. One of them cheats, one of them exaggerates, and one of them is doing something so advanced it shouldn't be possible in a soundbar form factor. And it completely changes the intensity of Atmos. If you're ready to go deeper, not all Dolby Atmos is real Atmos. This one needs to be said clearly. Just because a soundbar supports Dolby Atmos doesn't mean it's delivering true height audio. There are two types of Atmos in soundbars. Virtual Atmos, this is when the soundbar uses digital processing to simulate height effects. No actual up-firing speakers, just clever echo shaping. It sounds wider, yes, but it rarely sounds above you. True object-based Atmos, this is when the bar has upward-firing drivers that bounce sound off your ceiling to create a real overhead field. Most budget and even some mid-range bars advertise Atmos, but are actually just virtual. So what happens? People buy the soundbar, turn on an Atmos movie, and wonder why everything still feels like it's coming from the TV. But when you hear real up-firing channels, especially in a room with the right ceiling height, between 7.5 and 11 feet, the audio doesn't just sound bigger. It feels like the room opens vertically. Rain sounds like it's falling from above. Helicopters move through space, not across the screen. And voices gain air and presence, not just volume. The secret is simple. If your soundbar doesn't physically push sound upward, it will never deliver true Atmos height. But now here's where it gets interesting. Some 2026 soundbars do both. Real upward speakers and virtual expansion, layering height and width at the same time. And that hybrid effect is where Atmos starts feeling cinematic, not just better TV audio. Ready for the one that nobody expects? The room matters more than the soundbar. This is the one almost no one wants to hear, because it means the difference between mind-blowing Dolby Atmos and just louder audio has nothing to do with spending more money. It has everything to do with where the soundbar is placed. Most people plug in a Dolby Atmos soundbar, set it directly under the TV, and expect cinematic overhead sound to just happen. But Atmos isn't magic. It relies on physics. If your room has low ceilings under 7 feet, angled ceilings, heavy curtains or soft wall treatments, open sidewalls that lead into hallways, you can have the most expensive Dolby Atmos system in the world, and it will still sound like regular stereo audio. Because Atmos depends on reflection. Those upward-firing drivers bounce sound off your ceiling to place effects above you. If that ceiling is too high, too open, or absorbs sound instead of reflecting it, the height layer disappears. So what does this mean in real life? Someone with a $400 soundbar in a well-shaped room can experience better Atmos than someone with a $2,000 flagship system in a bad room. That's how big the difference is. But here's the part most reviewers never tell you. You don't need to renovate your room. You don't need acoustic panels. You don't need speaker stands or calibration microphones. You only need to control 2 simple things. Distance your soundbar should sit close to ear level. Not too low, not too high. Ceiling reflection flat ceilings between 7.5 to 11 feet allow the height channels to land exactly where Atmos is meant to live. Overhead, not forward. Once this is set, even average soundbars suddenly start sounding bigger, taller, richer, like the room itself becomes part of the speaker. Now here's where the real twist comes in. There's a secret technology inside some new 2026 soundbars that solves the room problem entirely. The new adaptive height mapping nobody is talking about. This is the moment the entire Dolby Atmos game changes. Because every Atmos soundbar until recently relied on your room to create the height effect. If your ceiling was too high, too low, textured, slanted, or just bad for reflections, the overhead sound never really worked. But in late 2025 and rolling into 2026, a new technology has started showing up in certain next-generation Dolby Atmos soundbars. Adaptive height mapping. This isn't marketing fluff. This is digital acoustics intelligence at work. Here's what it does. Instead of blindly firing audio upward and hoping your ceiling reflects it correctly, the soundbar listens to your room. It uses phase calibration signals, ultrasonic reflections, real-time spatial measurement, and a height-specific object processing chip to actually map how sound behaves in your room. Then it reroutes the height layer. If reflections are good, it uses the upward-firing speakers for natural height and overhead movement. If reflections are poor, it digitally reconstructs height audio inside its front and side channels using psychoacoustic vertical resonance modeling. Meaning, you still get true overhead Atmos positioning even in rooms that physically cannot support it. This is why some people hear a bubble of sound around their head, while others only hear forward audio, even when they own the same soundbar model. Because only the newer 2026 soundbars with adaptive height mapping can intelligently fix room acoustics instead of suffering from them. And here's the part that will shock you. This feature is not on the most expensive models. Some premium brands are still relying on the old reflection-only approach, while a few mid to upper tier 2026 launches are quietly implementing this tech without making a big marketing announcement. Why? Because they want you to think the upgrade is in the drivers, the wattage, the wireless sub, the channel count. But the real upgrade is in the brain of the soundbar. And once you hear height audio working correctly for the first time, you'll never be able to go back. Because suddenly, Sound no longer just fills your room. It surrounds you, moves above you, breathes around your head, like the walls, ceiling, and air itself become part of the audio. And just when you think that's the most advanced trick happening in 2026, wait until you discover secret number 7. It flips the entire concept of soundbar power upside down. Power isn't what you think it is, the wattage trap. This one catches almost everyone, even people who think they know audio. Because when consumers shop for soundbars, the first thing they look at is wattage. 300 watts must be better than 150 watts, right? 800 watts must destroy 400 watts, right? Wrong. Wattage is not the measure of sound quality. Wattage is simply how much electrical power the amplifier can push. What truly matters is how efficiently that power is converted into usable acoustic pressure without distortion. Let me paint this clearly. Take 2 Dolby Atmos soundbars. One is 600 watts, but poorly tuned, cheap drivers, plastic enclosure, sloppy bass distribution. The other is 260 watts, but engineered with rigid chamber design, tuned port flow, and intelligent dynamic headroom control. Which one sounds fuller, richer, clearer, more immersive? Always the 260-watt one. Because power isn't loudness, and loudness isn't quality. Sound quality is shaped by driver material stiffness, enclosure resonance control, digital crossover discipline, pressure distribution in the mid-range body, signal processing intelligence, distortion control at volume peaks. But brands know wattage is a marketing magnet, so they print huge numbers on the box just to make you feel like you're getting power. This is what I call the wattage trap. The truth is, a well-designed soundbar doesn't rely on brute power. It relies on control. Control of how sound moves, expands, breathes, and fills your room without losing detail. And here's the secret Dolby Atmos soundbar owners don't realize. If you push a high-watt soundbar to fill a room beyond its design, the Atmos height layer collapses. The sound goes forward and wide, but not up. Atmos needs air discipline, not force. When you hear the right soundbar, the bass doesn't feel like it's punching your chest. It feels like it's lifting the room from underneath. The dialogue isn't just louder. It's clearer, like the voice sits perfectly in front of you. The height effects don't just echo. They float, like they're suspended in the space above your couch. That's the power of controlled performance over wattage. And here's the suspense. If you think this is where the learning curve stops, just wait. Secret number 8 reveals the reason some Atmos systems sound breathtaking in one room and disappoint in another, even if they're the exact same model. Your room is the real speaker, the space effect. This is the secret almost nobody talks about. Not reviewers, not manufacturers, not even pro installers unless they really know what they're doing. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The room matters more than the soundbar. You can buy the most advanced Dolby Atmos system in 2026 with upward-firing speakers, precision beam drivers, dynamic tuning, everything, and still get flat, lifeless sound if your room is working against you. Let's break down why. Dolby Atmos isn't just louder sound. It's directional sound, meaning the speaker is intentionally sending audio to bounce, spread, and float in your environment. So the walls, the ceiling, the furniture, they're part of the speaker system. If your ceiling is too high, the height layer becomes weak and disconnected. If your ceiling is angled, the reflections break apart before they reach your ears. If your room is full of thick curtains, soft sofas, or wall panels, those materials absorb the very sound that Atmos needs to reflect. And if your TV setup is in a corner, the entire image collapses to one side. Now here's the real twist. The same soundbar can sound completely different in 2 different rooms. Same hardware, same tuning, same person listening. But one room creates a dome of audio, and the other just spreads sound forward like a normal stereo bar. That's why some people swear a soundbar is amazing, while others return the same model disappointed. Not because the product changed, but because the room changed the sound. So the secret is learning how to work with your space, not against it. If your ceiling is high, over 10 feet, you want a system with rear wireless speakers, because the upward reflection will be weak. If your ceiling is low to medium height, 8 to 9 feet, Upward firing drivers are magic. They paint a roof of audio perfectly. If your room is open on one side, like a living room opening into a kitchen, sound will escape sideways, so you'll want side beam or adaptive directional tuning. And if your room is small, a compact Atmos bar might sound better than a massive flagship, because the audio has less distance to travel. This is why there is no universally best Dolby Atmos soundbar. There is only the best soundbar for your room. And now that you understand that, we can go deeper, because secret number 9 is where everything comes together. It explains why some soundbars feel cinematic, emotional, and addictive, while others sound impressive for a week and then start to feel flat. The sound that moves you isn't loudness. It's placement. This is where most people get Dolby Atmos totally wrong. They chase volume, what numbers, and speaker count, thinking more always means better. But great cinematic sound isn't about force. It's about direction, timing, and emotional placement. Because real immersion isn't when the sound is big. It's when the sound is accurate. Let me explain. When you're watching a movie and a helicopter flies overhead, your brain isn't responding to bass or loudness. It's responding to how precisely that sound moves through space. Does it sweep above you? Does it pan across the room? Does it make you look up instinctively? That's not loudness. That's placement intelligence. And here's the secret. The best Dolby Atmos soundbars don't just play sound, they position sound. They calculate where audio objects, voices, footsteps, storms, instruments, engines should exist in 3D space. And then they map that environment around you using beam steering, height virtualization, timing phase alignment, room boundary compensation. These are invisible processes, but they change everything you feel. This is why two soundbars with the same number of speakers can sound completely different. One throws sound generally around the room. Everything is wide but unstructured. The other places sound with intent, so every detail lands where your brain expects it to be. And when that happens, you don't just hear a movie. You experience it. The room disappears. You're not watching a scene, you're inside one. And this is the emotional secret premium users never talk about. The soundbar that moves you is the one that understands space, not power. Because your ears aren't listening for loudness. They're listening for position accuracy, the thing your brain uses to detect reality. The greatest Dolby Atmos soundbars of 2026 are not the biggest ones, not the loudest ones, not the most expensive ones. They're the ones that master audio placement. And once you hear that, really hear it, you never go back to basic sound again. But secret number 10 is the one that flips the entire smart home world upside down, because it changes how your soundbar connects, tunes, and improves over time. The soundbar that gets better after you buy it. This is the one nobody expects, and honestly, it's the most important secret of all. Because your Dolby Atmos soundbar in 2026 is no longer a finished product when you take it out of the box. The real performance comes after you've owned it for weeks, months, even years. See, Atmos soundbars today use something called adaptive post-purchase sound tuning. And here's what that means. When you first unbox your soundbar, it doesn't truly know your room. It doesn't know your ceiling height. It doesn't know your wall density. It doesn't know how deep your sofa absorbs sound. It doesn't know where reflections die and where they bloom. Yes, initial calibration gives it a starting point, but the real tuning happens slowly, over time, as the system listens back to your room. Every movie you play, every game you launch, every late-night quiet listening session, your soundbar is gathering audio data about your space. Where the sound pools, where it scatters, where the Atmos height gets lost, where dialogue sounds compressed, where bass pressurizes too hard, and then, silently, it adjusts itself. Night after night, minute after minute, scene after scene. Not just EQ, not just volume curves, but object-based audio remapping, the true backbone of Atmos. Your soundbar literally repositions sound in your room over time, learning how to place height, width, and depth more accurately. So after 2 weeks, it sounds better. After 2 months, clearer. After 6 months, fuller and more cohesive than you ever imagined. And here's the twist brands don't say out loud. Your soundbar is constantly evolving, not because of the hardware, but because of firmware, DSP updates, and machine learning room adaptation. Meaning, the Atmos soundbar you own today is not yet the soundbar it will become. And that's why reviews can feel outdated. That's why two people can own the same soundbar and have different experiences. That's why your first impression is not the final result. Because the best Dolby Atmos soundbars of 2026 aren't bought. They are grown, cultivated, trained, tuned to your environment. And that leads us to the final message of this video. The best sound isn't the one that hits hardest on day one. It's the one that learns who you are, learns your room, learns your habits, learns how you listen, and transforms itself for you. Final OUTRO, the cinematic close. If you made it this far, you now know more about Dolby Atmos technology than 99% of soundbar buyers. Now the real question, which part hit you the hardest? The high channels? The beam steering? The evolving room calibration? Or the emotional realization that sound is experienced, not just heard? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And listen, if you're serious about building a true home theater in 2026, not just something loud, but something that feels alive, then you're in the right place. This channel, Interface Craft, is where we break the hype, decode the marketing, and talk about sound in a way that actually matters. So hit subscribe, because what's coming next will change the way you hear movies forever. I'll see you in the next one.